Tampa Bay, ABC Action News at 5 starts right now.
Live from the station taking action for you, this is ABC Action News.
Right now at 5, firefighters versus a wall of flames. The reason people still need to be careful, even though the biggest danger is gone.
Plus chaos at one of the world's most famous tourist attractions. The one thing police say did not factor into this deadly and destructive crash at Times Square.
Plus breaking news from Washington, D.C. tonight. President Donald Trump's very first in-person comments on the special counsel starting to look into his campaign, how he defended himself just minutes ago. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jameson Euler.
And I'm Ashley Glass. Wendy is off tonight. We want to start with this at 5. Manatee County fire crews still working this huge fire at a business in South Bradenton.
Let's get right out to our Jake Peterson at the scene. Jake, fire crews are still asking some people to stay clear of this area.
Yeah, that's right. They're still monitoring some flare-ups at that tire yard. This was a tire yard fire, and that's right beyond those trees. You can still see some of the smoke right now, and some of the chemicals from that tire fire are still in the air. So they're asking people with respiratory issues to stay away while they make sure this massive fire is completely out. It started small around Calvin Perry's lunch break.
We were coming out to go to lunch, and we saw flames coming from a garage across the way, next door property.
He sees a small fire at a garage next to his business, but it doesn't take long for those flames to disrupt this entire industrial park.
Before the fire department get here, the building was fully in flame, engulfed, and the flames reached the trees, transferred over to the business next door.
And that next door business is this tire yard. The chemicals, along with heat, are a dangerous mixture.
I mean, as soon as you put water on it, the water was evaporating because the heat was so great. The heat is just unbearable.
So unbearable, this firefighter and an employee of the tire yard are sent to the hospital to get checked out. The wind didn't cool things down much, rather it spread the flames, causing a brush fire behind the business, threatening more property, including a daycare.
When those things started, again, they were popping up on the other side of the building, and the wind was driving them towards the residential community that had forest. So we had to pull our guys that were trying to save that building, put some over there to try to stop that brush fire, which they did.
The fire's out, but crews plan to watch it overnight to make sure it doesn't flare back up. And back here live, workers at the industrial park say someone in that garage was working on a car when the fire started. But right now, the fire marshal has to determine the exact cause of the fire. Reporting here in Manatee County, I'm Jake Peterson, ABC Action News.
Jake, thank you. Our subscribers on the ABC Action News app were some of the first to find out about this fire. For breaking news alerts, download our app from your favorite app store and sign up for the push alerts just like this one. We're monitoring breaking news now from the nation's capital. ABC News reporting President Donald Trump is on the verge of naming former Senator Joe Lieberman as the new director of the FBI. Here's what's developed now in just the past 2 hours. President Trump just wrapped up a news conference alongside the president of Colombia. He said, "We need a great director of the FBI," but he did not name names. He did insist, though, he did not ask James Comey to end his investigation into possible ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. The president also addressing the appointment of a special counsel to take over that probe.
Well, I respect the move, but the entire thing has been a witch hunt, and there is no collusion between certainly myself and my campaign, but I can always speak for myself and the Russians, zero. I think it divides the country.
Late today, Senator Lindsey Graham said he feels the probe is now considered a, quote, criminal investigation. President Trump leaving tomorrow for his first overseas trip since taking office. He's expected to name a new FBI director before he leaves.
We're getting our first good look here at 5 of the Navy veteran accused of plowing his car into a group of people in New York City's famous Times Square. Police haven't said exactly what caused Richard Rojas to start driving his car up the sidewalk, but they said just minutes ago he was hearing voices and expected to die. Authorities also ruling out terrorism tonight. Now, investigators say Rojas hit 23 people in all, including an 18-year-old woman who died and her 13-year-old sister, who's still in the hospital. At least 4 victims in critical condition. Witnesses describe the scene as total chaos, especially when the car caught fire.
My first thought was this car is going to explode, you know, and then I thought more people were going to get hurt.
And then I looked up to the front of the car and I saw the flames, and I'm like, I got to get my kids out of here.
Police officers had to tackle Rojas because they say he tried to run from the crash. He has a lengthy criminal history, we're learning, including 2 arrests for driving while intoxicated. Well, right now we are working with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office to get you an update on a body found at Fort DeSoto Park this morning. Detectives say someone found a body on the beach's East Beach. It's still not clear how the person died. Deputies only calling this a death investigation at this point.
Tonight, the driver who witnesses say hit a teen on his bike earlier this week and then sped off is in jail. That whole crime caught on camera. We want to remind you here that the video you're about to see there is graphic, may be disturbing for some as well. Our Brenda Lise Gonzalez live in Dade City, where a judge spared Christopher Try no mercy for his charges. Brenda Lise.
After hearing all that was mentioned in this probable cause, the judge found no reason to reduce his bail, and now it isn't over yet. Investigators are still searching for this man who they think is involved and is still on the run. This is how investigators found the SUV they've been searching for since earlier this week.
He's trying to run away.
The search began here, all caught on surveillance cameras, after a witness chased after the driver in that SUV, who just moments before lost control, hitting this teen on his bike. Believe it or not, he came out with only a few bruises and scratches. The SUV found 2 days later, ditched in a wooded area, smashed and dented. Investigators also found 20-year-old Christopher Michael Try, who witnesses point to as the driver.
I know his mother.
Records show Try has a lengthy criminal past, including burglary and drug charges.
He's a very troubled person. He's been in trouble with the law since he was a teenager.
Today, a judge found reason to charge Try for reckless driving and leaving the scene of a crash with injury. Now, state troopers focus their search on the other man they think was involved, 23-year-old Kevin Wilson. Investigators say it was 2 mosquito control workers who first found that SUV and contacted them. Now they're hoping for help in finding Wilson. Reporting live in Pasco County, Brenda Lise Gonzalez, ABC Action News.
Now, the most accurate weather team in Florida, ABC Action Weather.
Well, our record high for today was 93 degrees, but I've seen it as hot as 97. The official numbers will be in here in the next half an hour, but right now in Tampa, it's 96. And you can see inland temperatures are anywhere from 91 in Bartow to 95 in Lakeland. Certainly well above average at a minimum all across Tampa Bay today. And through the evening, very little chance for any showers moving across the area. We've got a mix of sun and clouds out there. Temperatures will remain in the 90s until just after sunset. And hey, Dennis has your 7-day forecast for you coming up in just a bit.
All right, Shay, thank you. Right now, state firefighters are very carefully working to control this 8,000-acre fire burning at a bombing range on the Highlands-Polk County line. Crews say they're using controlled burns to try and get the fire at the Avon Park Air Force bombing range contained. It's a safer tactic than using bulldozers because of all the explosives on the property. Now, if you live in the area or you drive nearby, you may notice smoke as far as 15 miles away. Of course, be careful with this one. Now, Pinellas County crews are chopping down thousands of pine trees in Brooker Creek Preserve. That's near Oldsmar. This is a proactive measure meant to protect you and your family from a brush fire. ABC Action News reporter Sarah Hollenbeck is live inside East Lake Woodlands community. Sarah, Pinellas County has kind of a scary way of describing this forest preserve.
Absolutely. They say this 8,700-acre preserve is basically like a tinderbox that is just waiting to ignite. Now, imagine living less than 100 yards away from it. Linda Jacoby is urging all of her neighbors to use extreme caution. Her biggest fear, seeing her backyard erupt in flames.
I haven't seen it this dry and this dangerous for years.
She's watched nervously as brush fires in other parts of Tampa Bay scorch through preserves a lot like the one behind her home.
And it's very scary. We've certainly had days when you could smell it, you could see the smoke, and to think that we've got that potential right in our backyard is very frightening.
It puts Pinellas County on edge too, especially because this preserve backs right up to hundreds of homes in Oldsmar and Palm Harbor.
It's the biggest open space we have left in the county, and it's surrounded by subdivisions all around the whole perimeter.
But crews are working fast to make Brooker Creek less of a fire hazard. They're removing thousands of dense pine trees, thinning down the forest to make it less dangerous.
If we cut down some wood, there'll be less fodder for fire.
Pines are among the most flammable trees in dry weather because of all those needles.
It torches, so the whole pine tree will go up like a big torch.
Chopping them down is a proactive move that could slow down any brush fire and keep it from spreading to Jacoby's backyard.
If things start in the preserve and they start moving, we're absolutely in the line of fire. There's no question.
But her neighbor Jimmy Richmond knows until we get a good drenching rain, we won't be in the clear.
I think there's still enough fodder, woods, dried leaves and stuff. You know what I mean?
Now here's the good news. Brooker Creek always has a fire crew on standby. They are ready to respond to a brush fire and they can be out within seconds. The other good news, there's actually a fire path right here in back of these homes that will keep everyone here safe. Reporting in Oldsmar, I'm Sarah Hollenbeck, ABC Action News.
Sarah, thank you. A lot still to come here at 5, including the dangerous and deadly drug now on the streets of Florida. And the reason authorities are worried people who never use it could still fall victim to it. Ashley?
Plus a pier that will pay for itself. The new argument St. Pete leaders are making about how it will benefit everyone in our community.
Plus a Florida lawmaker learning a difficult lesson. Be careful what you post. His explanation for a controversial article he shared on social media. Here's our first look at 5 at a murder suspect on the run. Hillsborough County deputies say this man, Kadeem Archibald, killed Kondo Kerr late Tuesday at a home on 128th Avenue East. Deputies think the two men were fighting when Archibald fatally shot the father of 4. He might be wearing a white T-shirt, gray jeans, and black and white sneakers. If you know where he is, call in your tip to Crime Stoppers. You could be eligible for a $3,000 reward.
Tonight, Florida investigators seeing first signs of it here. A deadly new drug cocktail has arrived in our state. We first told you about 2 weeks ago about Gray Death, a cement-colored combination of 3 opioids already linked to deaths in Georgia and Alabama. Deputies in Palm Beach County say they're starting to see it on the streets there. They're really worried. It's so powerful. Anyone who unknowingly touches it or just breathes it in could accidentally overdose.
Tonight, a Florida lawmaker being linked to a white supremacist group after an article he posted on social media. ABC Action News anchor Paul Legrone following the digital trail of trouble here tonight, Paul.
Yeah, trouble he didn't think he would find, Jameson. Let me walk you through this. This is State Representative Scott Plake, and this is the post he shared on social media on his Facebook page. The headline reading, "Breaking, FBI uncovers evidence that 62 million Trump voters are all Russian agents." Now, he told me on the phone today that he didn't think anything of this. He just thought it was a funny headline. But what he didn't know is this. That article came from a neo-Nazi website. And that's not all. Republican State Representative Scott Plinkett of Seminole County apologizing tonight after sharing this post on Facebook. An article link with a sarcastic headline, 62 million Trump voters are all Russian agents. It came from the Daily Stormer, a white supremacist neo-Nazi website spreading fake news with a racist bent.
What are these people complaining about?
The man behind the site, Andrew Anglin, a white supremacist who the Southern Poverty Law Center is suing, claiming he orchestrated a harassment campaign that has relentlessly terrorized a Jewish woman and her family with anti-Semitic threats. Anglin travels the world giving hate speeches, most of which are too offensive to repeat. Here's a taste of the race war he says is coming.
This is a war which may and probably will involve open violence, but which has its primary battlefield in the hearts and minds of individual people.
One quick Google search uncovers an entire world of so-called alternative media sites. Sites like Red Ice TV, which promotes what it calls a pro-European perspective.
Alluring, irresistible counterculture that is the alt-right.
Plinkett immediately expressing regret, telling Florida Politics, who first broke the story, that he's sorry, to quote those who were offended by my careless post. Second, I detest and condemn the disgusting ideas that are represented by that site. And going deeper now, I found what the Southern Poverty Law Center calls its hate map here, showing all the hate groups across the country and here in Florida. They mapped it out. There are 63 different groups they list, the second most in the country in Florida. But again, Representative Plinkett tonight says he never looked at those sites, and he says it's a lesson for everyone tonight. Check the source before you share.
Ashley.
All right, Paul, thank you. Well, some really good news, really cool news coming out of this year's hurricane conference. Our very own Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips presented with a special honor here.
Unbelievable. Today, he received the Dick Fletcher Media Award for all of his efforts to educate and inform people about hurricanes and helping them get prepared. It is the first time, by the way, this award has gone to a Tampa Bay area meteorologist.
You go, Den. Look at him, smiling ear to ear. Very cool. We're lucky to have you as our calm during the storm right here at ABC Action News.
Of course, and Dennis, that conference just wrapping up down there in West Palm Beach. I gotta say, I had no idea that you own a suit coat.
So many people said that on Facebook. Who's the Joker wearing a jacket? That's not Dennis. Yeah, I had to drag it from far in the closet. You know, we've been live over the last couple of weeks over at the beach. You know, we show you our beach cam, but back behind me right now, this is the Atlantic side, and there are storms brewing in. And down south and down to the east, there's some moisture that's coming this way to West Palm first and eventually to the Bay Area by this weekend. Now, you look outside. A look outside from our tower cams. Yes, things are beautiful, but man, oh man, are they hot. Right back in the mid to upper 90s today. We broke records yet again at the airport in Tampa. Now, you look at Titan Doppler radar and you say, okay, it's been dry of late, no changes there. We do have a couple of isolated showers that are going to continue to pop up, and for that matter, it's going to happen again later on this evening. We're going to see a few more on Friday and then into the weekend. If you're going to make your weekend plans now, we'll talk about that in just a second. Outside of that, temperatures right now, I mean, check out these temps. Mid to upper 90s. Last I saw, Tampa is at 97 degrees was the high. Now down into the mid 90s and again breaking another record, smashing the previous record out there. Now you take a look at the Southeast satellite. All's quiet across the area. Not much going on, but you notice a little bit of bubbling out there. That's the moisture and the heat and the sea breeze getting together. Last night, we had some very heavy rains in Pinellas. Tonight, there will be a few more scattered showers. I mean, you can see it very nicely with Futurecast. You're going to look at some isolated showers and storms. Kind of sounds like July and August, doesn't it? As you go through the evening, scattered showers. You go through Friday, same kind of thing. The morning is dry. The afternoon and evening, you start to see a few more bubble up. And then by the weekend, that piece of energy that I talked about, the one way out to the east here of West Palm, we're going to see a better chance of some storms as some moisture comes in. So rain chances will be continuing to go up over the weekend. Timing after 3 or 4 o'clock. If you got to get something done outdoors, you're golden in the morning. The afternoon into the evening, that's another story. Now check out the high temperatures because, again, this is just something we have never seen before. When you have temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, breaking records today, I think we're going to do it again tomorrow. Tampa's record 93, 94 in that ballpark, and I think we're going to see about 94 or 95 again on Friday. But by the weekend, things begin to change. So your hour-by-hour forecast, partly cloudy skies through the overnight. There will be some isolated showers. They'll move from east to west, just like they have the last couple of days. And look at Florida's most accurate 7-day forecast. Rain chances still rather low on Friday, about 20%. We bump them up to 30 to 40% over the weekend, maybe even up to 50% by Sunday into early next week. And then, how about this? We could be talking about a cold front arriving the middle of next week, giving us yet another chance of rain. So it's dry, it's hot, but hang in there. I definitely think we have some changes on the way, and we'll talk more about that coming up in the next half hour.
All right, thank you, Dennis. And to talk about dedication, he's going to throw that hardware in the overhead bin and try to fly back here in time tonight for the 11 o'clock news. So good luck on that. We'll talk to you in a little bit, Dennis.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, buddy. All right, still to come here on Action News, first of its kind solution to one of Tampa Bay's busiest roads, the new concept, and the reason it might be tough for drivers to grasp it at first.
I'm afraid of him. Like, any moment he could come out with a gun again.
Plus, family threatened the annoyance that set this neighbor off in the conflicting story he's giving tonight.
Also, this, a fake death and missing money new at 6. The scam authorities say 2 Bay Area business owners used to steal money from customers and employees, and the previous legal trouble we're now uncovering. Examiner just saying former Fox News CEO Roger Ailes died from bleeding on the brain. Now, within just the last few minutes here, investigators saying hemophilia contributed to the 77-year-old's death. We also got our hands on the calls for help at Ailes' Palm Beach mansion and found out last Wednesday paramedics responded to a call that Ailes fell, hurt his head, and was seriously bleeding. It's not clear if this also played a role in his death. Ailes founded Fox News resigned from the network last year amid reports of sexual harassment.
Right now, Fort Myers family says they're afraid for their lives because of their gun-toting next-door neighbor who they say threatened to shoot them. Christopher Laughlin says his neighbor snapped when Laughlin's dog got loose and ran next door. That's when you see the neighbor point what seems to be a gun at the dog. Laughlin says the guy cocked the gun and threatened to shoot his elderly mother in front of his teenage daughters and 15-month-old baby. The neighbor telling deputies a different story. According to a report, he claims the dog has gotten onto his property several times and feared it was going to become aggressive towards his own one-year-old daughter.
Is it worth rebuilding the St. Pete Pier?
And I can't honestly say that I've seen anybody that misses it for what it had grown into.
Why the city insists a new pier is worth the hefty price tag.
Pasco County Sheriff's deputies out at Quail Hollow in full force yesterday. The county ordinances they say the club was breaking coming up.
One city easing up the rules about buying booze, the changes that could help both businesses and beachgoers.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Lakeland Toyota. Save more on I-4.